Wuthering Waves is the new open-world action gacha game that has taken the community by storm, and many players have gotten the chance to explore the world of Soul 3. I myself have been able to get a good first look at the world that Wuthering Waves creates, and there is a lot to cover. Today, I wanted to give my first impressions I have on the game. We are going through everything today, from the fighting mechanics, to the quests and storyline, to the world exploration. As someone who never played any of the closed beta and has only had gameplay videos to build up my hype, we will go over if all that hype buildup was actually worth it, and if this game will take over other popular gacha games like Genshin Impact. Before we get into it though, I wanted to say thank you for all the support and feedback on my last video. If you enjoy what you see and want to help support me make more videos like these, please like and subscribe. It really helps out with how small the channel is and helps support me in creating more content for everyone. With that out of the way, let's get into the video. Now, I am someone with a lot of gacha game experience in my life, and Wuthering Waves being the brand new game coming out really piqued my interest. However, the main aspect of the game that caught my eye the most right away, and the reason my hype was so built up over these past years, was the combat. Specifically, the unique take on the dodge and counter system was the one thing that had me the most interested. As someone who came from Genshin Impact's way of combat, this felt like a unique breath of fresh air already. I was eager to try my hand and quite possibly be skill issued against some of the enemies and bosses that require you to dodge or counter them. Finally being able to dive into the experience myself, I really have to say, the combat is amazing. It is the most enjoyable aspect of the game, and I even find myself taking hits from enemies just to try to nail every dodge or counter that I can. It feels almost like a Dark Souls game with the combat, where you have to really learn enemy movesets. This makes the combat feel very rewarding, and has me looking forward to each fight. Not to mention, the way you even swap out characters is different from what I am used to experiencing as well. Every character has something called outro and intro skills. To utilize these skills, you will want to grow the concerto gauge on your active character by fighting, and once that gauge fills up during combat, your characters on the side will start glowing. This lets you know that when you swap to that character, they will outro skill into that new character's intro skill, which adds a whole new level to character swapping. Using the character's forte, you can drop a massive amount of damage before switching into your new character to continue the fight. Many characters actually have buffs they give as an outro skill to the characters they swap to, leading to some powerful team comps you can utilize in your fights. Learning the best times to swap characters is very important, as these damage boosts can be instrumental to your victories. This differs from other games like Genshin Impact, where the focus is placed upon the ability to combine elements to do more damage. Comparatively to Wuthering Waves, this does not feel as fluid and satisfying. Having to just focus on spamming through your characters, only relying on the elemental combinations you are able to do, and not really attacking is not an exciting way to play. This style of gameplay Genshin has just feels repetitive, as it is the only way to really play that game, which leaves a lot to be desired. With Wuthering Waves, learning how each enemy fights in its own unique way actually helps you plan how you are going to fight that enemy properly, and not just spam through your abilities until you win. I believe this factor of the game will really help set it apart from other gacha games, and attract people to its unique style. It's not just the combat that has really surprised me with how this game has been. The quests and the overall story also was quite shocking, to say the least. Story-wise, it does start off pretty strong, with our character being introduced into the world and not having much to offer just yet. They essentially give us a blank slate of a character, giving us more questions than anything else. However, with time, they do a good job explaining how our character could be related to this hero in their world story. I personally wish they would have cut down a bit on the lore explanation early on. I'm not saying I didn't enjoy it. I just feel that loading your early gameplay with too much dialogue can make the pacing feel slow. I would have preferred to learn more of the exposition through action and fighting enemies, not just from the dialogue. I prefer world building through action because it gives me the chance to better mentally reference things as they explain it. I can easily remember these bits at parts of the story that could be impactful. That is to say though, that once the story gets going, it is really good. I enjoyed the many intense moments where the story hits crucial points where so many secrets were revealed to us. It almost makes me sad that there are only 6 acts to the story currently. That is not a negative, however, as even the companion and side quests available to us have good story elements, which honestly kinda shocked me. Based on previous games of the genre, I wasn't expecting too much from the side quests. However, these expectations were blown out of the water. I am personally not a fan of unvoiced quests, as I find trouble paying attention long enough without the characters talking. I also tend to find them unfinished without the voice acting. In these quests though, I actually found myself pretty invested, and I wanted to see them to their conclusion, which really surprised me. To top it off, the companion quests for our little boy Ling Yang and the General GN were amazing! I enjoyed getting to know the characters more and to learn a little more about the overall world itself through their quests. I hope in the future we have more moments like these to really help us understand more of the characters. With questing out of the way, we can get into the big focal point that a bunch of people have very much enjoyed. Let me say, I definitely enjoyed wandering around the world, just seeing all the puzzles, chests, little butterflies, and just overall enjoying the environment as I looked around. While some of the exploration isn't unique, as it takes inspiration from Genshin Impact's world, an example being the golden butterflies you have to find and lead to their locations being quite similar to the Seelie spirits in Genshin you have to do the exact same thing with. Also, another example is seen in using the bomb fruits to burn away thorns to reveal other aspects of different puzzles, which is similar to when in Genshin you have to use a pyro character to burn away thorns to allow you to complete certain puzzles. Even so, there actually were quite a bit of unique puzzles to a lot of the exploration that I had never quite experienced before. I really enjoyed the brain teaser puzzles especially, which helped wake my brain up from the mindless walking around the map. The best part that came with the exploration was the ability to find tons of enemies all over the map. This helped out with the game's unique equipment system that actually reminds me a lot of a Pokemon game. In Wuthering Waves, we gain the ability to take the echoes of any enemy we slay, which then allows us to equip those said echoes to gain stats and abilities. If you don't know what echoes are, don't worry, we will get to those later in the video. As the player, we are essentially given a near infinite way to just farm anything we need on a daily basis, from normal enemies found throughout the world to the actual bosses themselves. This allows for an entertaining way to grow your power throughout your explorations. Also, being as this is a gacha game itself, we have to talk about the banners. I have to say, the way they handle the banners currently is very impressive. For starters, the one that caught my eye instantly was the fact that the regular weapon banner lets you choose which one you want, and the limited weapon banner guarantees you will get the limited weapon each time. This really helps reduce the stress when trying to max out the character you want to grab. Having a guarantee on both weapon banners that you will get exactly what you want can really help save pulls for future attempts. Also, for anyone unaware, the banner system in this game is actually fairly similar to other gacha games. The standard and limited character banners have a guarantee of giving you a 5-star character after 80 pulls have been met. This is 10 pulls less than the banners that you can find in similar games, like how Genshin is a 90 pull system. Also, with the limited character banner, even if you fail to pull the limited banner character on the first 5-star you get, you will simply be guaranteed to acquire the character next time you pull a 5-star character on that banner. Finally, let's talk about one of the biggest differences this game has that really sets it apart from every gacha game in my opinion. Echoes. Yep, that's right. These amazing things right here are the best unique factor of Wuthering Waves. Now, as you find through the story, echoes are the souls of fallen enemies that we are able to collect and store in our databank. The databank being our in-game Pokédex, to provide an example. As you acquire the echoes of certain enemies, the databank will log them and level up. The higher the level of your databank, the higher the rarity of each of those echoes you find on slain enemies. These echoes also function as our character's artifact sets, as Genshin Impact would call them. The difference is that any enemy that you kill in the entire map has a chance of dropping these echoes, as opposed to in Genshin, you would have to farm artifacts in various domains. However, there is a big thing to note with the echoes in early gameplay. At least in the start, there is no direct way to farm main stats for the type of echo that you want to get, like a specific damage bonus from a specific echo for a specific set. While you can farm everything at the start of the game, you could quite literally get anything. This differs to Genshin Impact, where you are able to focus on set bonuses through their domains. This, however, is very limiting to a player's daily grind. Doing this through Genshin costs you your daily resin to be able to get artifacts, and once you run out, then you can't farm anymore. In Wuthering Waves, farming echoes doesn't cost any wave plates, which is this game's form of stamina. That's right! This means, while the odds are lower to get something you need, the amount that you will acquire from killing enemies throughout the map will guarantee that you will get something usable entirely without spending wave plates. This is such a huge difference compared to Genshin's system, and rewards the hardcore players in their attempts to perfect their builds. To add the cherry on top, we can even use the abilities the enemies use against us by equipping their echoes to our first slot. This gives us the ability to use, and sometimes even turn into, these monsters we have previously slain to gain powerful advantages in battle. This is quite the addition to the already unique combat style that you will get to experience in this game. I would also like to point out that I have never experienced a gacha game that was ready to be so understanding with their player base in spite of some optimization issues that the game has had during this week. Understandably, they have been hard at work fixing the lag and making sure the game runs smoother overall, and these rewards are pretty great as an apology when it comes to a game of this size. Even if you run into these issues and can't quite enjoy the game as it is currently, being able to get the characters you really want is such a game changer in gacha games. It helps keep the audience engaged and lets them play around with their desired characters early on while still allowing them to grind for more characters later on. Now, finally, to answer the burning questions everyone has had. Is Wuthering Waves really gonna take over Genshin Impact? Well, no. At least, it's too early to tell. While Genshin Impact and Wuthering Waves do have a few similarities because they are both action open world gacha games, I have to say after experiencing both of the game's combat, exploration, characters, and aesthetics, I thoroughly enjoy Wuthering Waves more right now. This isn't to say Genshin is worse in any way, it's just the aspects that Wuthering Waves brings to the table are much more impactful and enjoyable to experience. This does not mean Wuthering Waves will take over Genshin though. So far, it is way too early to tell, and Kuro Games has a lot of maintenance and care to do for both the game and its community. I see a lot of promise in Wuthering Waves, but there is still a lot more time to see. I know I will be constantly playing this game on a daily basis, which you can go watch over on twitch.tv/LenRyx. If you haven't yet, I would encourage giving this game a try, as it seems Kuro Games really wants to do the best they can to provide a wonderful experience for everyone. Let me know in the comments what are your impressions of the game, and also let me know of any fun team comps you have figured out. I would love to try them out as the weeks go on. Thank you for watching the video, and I will catch you on the next one.